Hello, Memphis. My name is Blake McVeigh. I'm a librarian here in the Business and Science Department of the Benjamin L. Hooks Central Branch Library.
And I'm Sarah Terry, a master gardener and also a librarian assistant in the Business and Science section of the Benjamin Hooks Library.
We want to spend a few minutes today helping you learn how, we're going to show you how to harvest and save seeds from your own garden so that you can save them for use in next year's garden. So as Sarah said, she is a certified master gardener with the Shelby County Agricultural Extension. So I'm going to lean on her expertise today to help us learn, pardon me, how best to harvest and save your seeds. So, Sarah, why should we or anybody bother trying to harvest and save their own seeds?
Well, there are several reasons. First of all, you can save a lot of money. Seeds are if you want to have a big garden, sometimes seeds can get expensive, but if you save your own, then you can avoid buying them. The second reason is to keep old genetic lines and plants viable throughout the years. As there used to be many more varieties of fruits and vegetables that we eat than there are now. Everyone knows that a store-bought tomato is just not as good as a homegrown one. And part of the reason is that those tomatoes have been hybridized to hold up well during shipping. But in that process, they've lost their good taste. So if you want to get heirloom varieties, which have been passed down for generations, they taste better. Some of those varieties are like Brandywine and Cherokee Purple. And there's many, many, many of them to choose from. And the third reason is just because it's fun and you can share. So you can share it with you can trade seeds and share them. There are online seed trading places you can go and find other people who have what you want, and you can swap.
Okay. And stay tuned to the end of the video. We're going to tell you a little bit how right here in Memphis you can both share seeds and get some seeds from other Memphis gardeners to plant in your own garden. So we'll share a little bit more about that in a little while. So Sarah, what's the first thing to do when we're preparing for saving seeds?
Well, you need to research your plant a little bit. You need to know what the seeds look like, when is the best time to harvest them, because it's the time when the flower is the prettiest or the fruit and the vegetable are the tastiest is usually not the same time as it's best to harvest seeds. So you need to know when and what they should look like. And also different seeds need different treatments after you harvest them, so you need to know what those are too.
Okay. So when you said about when the fruit or the vegetable is the tastiest, it's not the best time to harvest the seeds. I brought this red okra from my house, and I noticed that for me, when the okra gets this big, it's inedible. You can't chew it. You'd have to have like steel teeth or something to get through this. But I'm thinking probably as long as I let this dry, the seeds in there will be great for next season.
Yes. Usually you have to let plants go beyond their peak of attractiveness or tastiness to get the seeds to be the best kind of seeds to propagate next year. So you just have to know your plant and know when it's the right time. So if you have flowers, you might want to let some of the flowers in the back die first before you harvest them, but the ones in the front will still look nice. And you need to also let, say your tomatoes, let some of them go a little longer than they would, and just sacrifice a few to get a whole new crop next year.
And that's the key right there. You only really have to do that with a few.
That's right.
You don't have to do a whole plant, or
No.
definitely not a whole crop.
No.
Just like one
Just
or
some
two.
of them, yes.
Okay. Well, that's pretty easy so far. Can you save seeds from any plant? Are there some plants that we either shouldn't, or like maybe they wouldn't be viable or something?
Most plants you can save seed. What you probably should not do, you can try it, but it may not work, is to save hybrid seeds. Those are seeds that have been cross-pollinated between two different varieties, like I was talking about with the tomatoes, to make them more viable to ship. But when you plant those seeds, it's most likely that the seed will revert back to one of the two parents, and you won't get exactly what you thought you were going to get, because you would have to get heirloom seeds and that are also called open pollinated, because they just are pollinated from the wild and not on purpose. Seeds of plants that are diseased, you would not want to try to get seeds from those. When you're picking which plants to save your seeds from, you should look at the ones that don't have disease or powdery mildew or something, because those will be the most resistant to diseases. And you probably shouldn't save seeds from anything that's invasive or that will take over your garden, because you don't want that to happen.
Definitely. Is there a particular way that once you have the full plant and the fruit or the flower is available to be harvested for seed, is there a way that we can know if it's hybrid or not, or do we just have to know what we planted?
The best way is to know what you planted. Now, some people like to get their food from the grocery store and save a few seeds and plant them to see what happens, or to let the kids do it to show them that seeds come from plants. That's fine. It's fine to experiment and play around. But if you're serious about what you're getting, then you would want to know what you're planting if you can.
So as long as you know what you planted, whether or not you have hybrids, and you harvest at the right time, is it pretty safe to say that just about any seed from your garden can be viable as long as you take the right steps to preserve it
Probably
properly?
most. Things that aren't native, might not work so well, but most flowers and vegetables and fruits that we grow here, you can work with. Yes.
Okay. We may want to wait on this until we get there, and we don't have any examples in particular, although this okra might work, but a seed from something like this dill, it's going to be pretty obvious how we save those or harvest those. But what about something that might be kind of like wet or goopy or slimy? How do you save seeds from something like that?
All right. Well, the whole program of seed saving is brought to you by the letters DRY. It has to be dry. If it's not, your seeds can get moldy and then they'll be ruined. So it will depend on the plant. For instance, for tomatoes and cucumbers, when you scoop those seeds out, they're kind of in a gelatinous glop.
Right.
And they need special treatment. The way you do that is you take your gelatinous glop and put it in a container, add an equal amount of water, and then put it in a warm place out of the sun, such as the top of your refrigerator.
Okay.
And for about 5 days, go and stir it every day. It will ferment and smell a little bad, but in those 5 days, the viable seeds will sink in the bottom of the water, and the non-viable seeds and the gunk will go to the top. So when the 5 days are up, you get rid of the gunk and you rinse off the seeds and then dry them out real well. And you won't be in danger of having any molds or anything to stay on them and ruin them while they're in storage. For peas and beans, they need to dry out for probably 6 weeks because they're so big. And so you would just need to know, what your plan is and what it needs to have done.
So how would you characterize? I guess really this okra seed, this would kind of be more like a bean or a pea as far as the drying, huh?
Yeah, you would just dry those, and also peppers and okras are both easy. You just kind of get the seeds out, let them dry, put them up. You don't have to do any fermenting or any long, terrible.
So here's our first example. Just kind of scoop them out. Wow, this is easier than I thought it was
Yes,
going
it's
to be.
very easy. And it's probably best to leave them on the plant until they're dried.
Oh, really? So
Yeah.
I shouldn't be like plucking them out?
just for an example, we have to use what we have. But later in the season, they'll dry out and get rattly, and
Gotcha.
and that's the best time to get them out. They have time to get all the development they can.
So as far as the saving of different seeds, I leave it on the plant. Even if it gets obscenely large, that's fine because I'm not trying to eat it.
That's right.
I'm
You're not trying
save
to eat it.
seeds. Now, would you say these seeds would be less likely to be viable? Because did I pick it too early?
Well, if you look really closely, you can see that they're trying to sprout already. So they're probably pretty good right now. Can you see the little sprout right
do.
there? And they're on several of these. So.
Well, so then if they're already starting to sprout, they'd be no good for next year, right? Because
yeah, you won't want that. So you would
Okay.
want to let them. So see, these are dried out and they're not sprouting. Well, this one isn't.
So
So,
with these particular seeds, the darker the better.
Well, probably. It depends on your variety. But,
Okay.
yeah, the drier the better.
All right. So show us some of the examples we have here. What's the best way to harvest what we have here?
Okay, well, right here we have zinnias. Now, everyone loves a zinnia. And the best way to deal with them is to let them dry totally out on the plant. So don't cut them until they're looking awful like this. So that's why you might want to cut them from the back. Let the back ones.
Yeah.
the back one. This one has lost all its petals, but you can still harvest seed from it. You just grab some of this and pull it out, and you can see it makes these little sword-shaped or arrowhead-shaped seeds, like right there, right there.
So it's this and not this.
Right. Then so the ones that have petals, sometimes you can pull them out by the petals.
Oh, okay.
And there's some even more developed ones. And they have you can pull the petals off if you'd like. And,
But you don't have to?
No, you don't have to, but it's just less to worry about mold and drying. So you can do that, and some people just do this and they fall out, you know, but that just makes a mess to me. But,
Yeah. And
but,
so again,
but here's
this,
a good example of
this
a
little stuff here, that's not
No,
the seed.
that's just dirt
Gotcha.
or just, you know, refuse.
Okay.
Over here, I've got some seeds from a plant called Baptisia, and it's fun to play with. This plant is very pretty. It's very good for our area because it doesn't mind the heat and the drought.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it makes beautiful blue flowers, so all of you who love blue flowers should try it. And they also come in yellow and also in white. They do take a year or two to get established really well. The first year you might get nothing, the second year you'll get something, and then after that, I have so many of these I can't give them all away, even through the seeds catalog.
I can attest to that because I planted some of your Baptisia seeds this spring, and they have come up, but they're not really doing anything.
Right,
They're there,
right.
but I don't have any of these.
No, you won't. No, probably not next year either. Now, on the Baptisia, I like to pick them while they're rattly, but before they start splitting, because then they'll drop seeds out.
Right.
And I mean, this is as easy as just tearing it open, and look, there they are.
They look like little beans.
Yes, and look how many out of one pod. And I have a whole grocery bag full of
Whoa.
pods.
And they kind of get away from
Yes,
you.
they do. And I got these from another master gardener who left some pods at a meeting one time.
Now, do you want to share a little bit about the odd way to start these seeds?
Yes, now these seeds have a very hard shell. So when you're going to plant them, you need to the night before, you need to pour near boiling water on them and then let them soak overnight. Otherwise, they may be too hard to sprout.
And that's just so odd because unless you specifically were told that, who would think of that?
Well, that's
I
why
would not
that's why
think
you
of
need
that.
to know what your plant is and look it up. You know, Google it, look it up, find out what it's all about and what the techniques are, and look at more than one place because different people do things differently. But you'll have the best chance of success if you know everything you can about it. Now over here I have something called anise hyssop. It's an agastache, and it is a really nice plant. It attracts bees. It attracts small bees mostly.
Great.
And when you grow this, they'll just be swarming. These seeds are very, very tiny, and all I had to do was pick off a dead, normally this would have blue flowers on it, or
Okay.
purple. I had to pick off a dead head and just put it in this bag and shake, and look at all these little seeds that came
So you just put it in the bag and started shaking
I
it.
did. You can also just, do like this, but this produces so many seeds. What I usually do at the end of the season is cut all my dead plants down and just shake them over the area and go inside for the winter. And then the next
Yeah.
spring they come up. This is another one. This is a salvia. It's called coral nymph. And it has beautiful coral flowers that bees also like. I plant for bees if you haven't noticed. And
Yeah.
I just cut it off this morning, some of the dead ones, and shook it, and you can see there's tiny seeds in there too. It's very easy to do. And then they produce like crazy.
Wow.
So, and then what did you have? Some Mexican hat here.
Yeah, I have some Mexican hat.
Let's see how to do
It's
that.
so easy. You just kind of pinch it. You can also, if you can get it, you can kind of, see, I already have some
Oh,
there.
look at that.
If you kind of
Wow.
break it in half, or
Woo.
maybe, did you twist it?
I twisted it.
You just really,
That's
once
amazing.
and once it really starts going, then You just get so many.
Right.
And these are great little, if you haven't seen these flowers, they're these beautiful yellow flowers with kind of a maroon center.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's got this
They are
little,
very pretty. And the little piece that sticks up like a hat.
yep, little protuberance. So
That's
easy.
very productive, isn't it?
Yeah, very productive. And it's not entirely unlike that
No, it's lots of them
zinnia.
are very similar.
This is one of my favorites right here. You may already know what this, I know you know what this is. That dill seed, which you can actually cook with if you want, but, and it also smells really good. I can't really smell it very well through my mask.
I can. That is
Dill seed is
wonderful.
great. So it's pretty obvious how to get this. And it might be good to put it in a plastic bag, but for now, since we just got this here, and just separating, you can see how easy it is for these to come off. Kind of pinched it together, doing a little, it's just so easy. And these are nice and dry. I just plucked these from my dill this morning, so they fully dried on the plant, and I am 100% certain that some of these have fallen into my bed.
Yes.
And that I will have even more. I can't remember the last time I planted dill. I haven't had to plant dill. Because
that's the same with the salvia and the hyssop.
Right,
I don't have to plant
right.
it. I just shake the dead ones over the area every year, and
now what do you know? Plants
there
doing their
they
thing.
come.
So once we have all of these seeds, well, let's do one more.
Okay.
I was trying to do some of this black-eyed Susan. What'd you call it? Rudbeckia?
Rudbeckia.
Rudbeckia, black-eyed Susan. I was trying to do some earlier, and it was trickier than I thought it was going to be. Do you have a foolproof method or an effective method?
Well, those are still a little damp. I think it will be easier if they're dry.
Oh, so if they're dry, I might have. I noticed some of them are drier than others. These are also ones that I just deadheaded this morning. Deadheaded
Yeah,
meaning, you know,
so
they're obviously
the
dead
drier
or
they
dying.
are, the easier everything will fall out.
What about that one?
That looks pretty dry.
So is it just like the others where
Just pull it off.
I've got that there, and that is the seed, right?
Mm-hmm. Those teeny little things.
So they're pretty small.
That's right.
Okay. But again, I see these all over my neighborhood. This is a very popular flower.
Yes, it's very pretty.
And with all of these seeds, I mean, we could seed Memphis.
That's right. That's
We
right.
could seed the whole city
See,
with
most
this many.
plants are so prolific. You can get a whole garden worth out of just a few seeds, and then you'll have plenty to share with your friends.
Right. So once we get all these seeds harvested, what do we do with them?
Well, like I said, they need to be very dry, very dry. So find out how. Like these are probably pretty dry. I like to cut my flowers and plants for seeds in the afternoon when it's not, it's been real hot.
Okay.
But you can lay them out in a dry, warm place away from the sun, and let them get as dry as you can. Then store them. There's different ways to store them. Now these I don't usually store in plastic. I just brought these so you could see the seeds.
Why not?
I just like to have some air flow, a
You
little
want
air
something
flow.
that breathes.
Right.
Because
So
moisture kills.
right. So I like these little envelopes. These are coin envelopes.
Yeah.
There'll probably be plenty available because we're having a coin shortage during the pandemic.
That's
So
true.
no one needs these. But you can store them in these and label them, write or put a sticker on the outside, and write what they are and the date you saved them, so you won't let them go too long. Different seeds will be viable for different amounts of time. Sometimes people like to store them in jars. Like if you're going to really do all those, it would make a pile. So you can store it in a jar. But I do prefer to have airflow a little bit, just to. Some people also will store seeds with those little silica gel packets that come in your shoe boxes,
Right.
or whatever, and things you
Maybe
buy.
some damp red.
Yeah, some damp red if you're considering that, if you really are concerned. But yeah, if they get wet and start molding, and it'll just ruin the whole thing. So you don't want that to happen. So I think if you save a lot of seed, it might be good to do it in different jars or different envelopes. So And I've heard that a good way to get beans and peas dried is to put them in a wicker basket and stir them up every few days because they're big. They take a long time.
Yeah. Okay. Should you use something like a food dehydrator, or is that kind of too aggressive?
I don't think it would hurt.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never tried that before.
Okay.
That's a thought.
All right. Okay, you also wanted to show us how to make seed tape.
That's right. When you have seeds that are this small, and they say sow them this many inches, a quarter inch deep, 3 inches apart, that's hard. You can't see those.
Yeah,
and
it's
you know,
tough.
if you have fat, short fingers like I do, it makes it very hard. So you can make a seed tape to plant out of things you have at home. So this is our strip of toilet paper. We do have that now again.
Yes.
And what you're going to do is pour a little glue, and you can dehydrate. Pour some water in it to make it thinner if you want. And you take your little seeds, and you just take a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of glue, and you go over here and pick up a seed, and then you put it sort of in the middle of here with the glue. Then if I'm supposed to plant these 2 inches apart, I can have my ruler.
Ah.
And then I get another one and put it 2 more inches here. You can make this as long or short as you want, or it's in several sections. Then once you're finished with your whole tape, I'll do one more. You can take your glue and run it down one side. Fold the whole thing over. And it's all there for you. And then you let it dry real well. You can store it rolled up like this, or however you like. Then when it's time to plant, you just dig your trench for quarter inch under the soil,
Right.
whatever it says.
Which is not much.
No, and then put your soil over it, water it, and just like normal. And this will disintegrate. And
Oh
your
yeah,
seeds will
toilet
be-
paper will disintegrate like
Your
that.
seeds will be exactly where you want them. This is good for carrots especially. When
They
you
are
want a
so
little row of
small, the
carrots.
seeds are
But
so
lettuce
small.
seeds, carrot seeds, radish seeds, they're all tiny. And for me, I just would faint if I had to do that and do it without some kind of a guide.
This is great.
Mhm.
Is it a good idea or a bad idea to, for example, do some dill seeds now in the tape for planting in the spring?
You could
or
do
should
that.
So you don't have to wait?
No, you can do it
Okay.
whenever the seeds are ready. And then just be sure to store it in a very dry place, like roll it up and put it back in a jar or something.
Okay.
And
Well, that makes
you can do it in the
perfect
winter
sense.
when you're thinking, oh, I wish I had some plants because it's winter,
That's
and,
true.
When you get with plant withdrawal. you
kind of
can-
scratch that gardening itch.
Exactly.
And this is also great because we really should be thinking about our fall crops pretty soon. And a lot of fall crops have those tiny seeds
That's
like
right.
lettuce and that sort of thing. So we could be doing that now.
Now there are some plants that don't make seeds, so you can save their seeds. What my favorite is called African blue basil. This is a huge attractant for bees, and they love it, and all kinds and all sizes of bees. But it's a sterile plant; it doesn't produce seeds, so you can only propagate it with cuttings. I just go buy a few every year at the garden center and plant them and watch the bees all summer. And then you don't have to worry about reseeding or pulling up anything or anything like that. But it's a very valuable plant, but you can't save its seeds because it doesn't make them.
Let's see. Do you feel like we have covered pretty much everything we have before us today?
I think we have. I think we've learned a lot today.
I've definitely learned some. I thought I knew about saving seeds, but I learned several things that I had never known before. So thank you, Sarah. That's pretty much all the time we have for now. I do want to spend just a minute to talk about something that's near and dear to both of our hearts here at the library, and that is the Seed Library. We have partnered here at the Benjamin L. Hook Central Branch Library with Memphis TILF to provide the Seed Library. The Seed Library, it's a very simple concept. We have taken an old-fashioned, it's a beautiful wooden card catalog, and it has the drawers and everything, and so it is perfect for housing these very envelopes with all sorts of seed that you can come and you can take for free to plant in your garden.
We also ask that as you can, that you do this process right here and you bring us seeds to add to the library to share with other gardeners in Memphis. So again, if you come here to the Central Branch Library and you go to the 3rd floor, you walk all the way to the back of the department, and up against the wall, you will see the old card catalog, and there's a big sign that says Seed Library. If you need any help, if you need any directions in finding the Seed Library, just find one of us librarians, and we can help you find it. The Seed Library is free for all, and it is designed, like I said, for you to both come and get seeds and to bring seeds to share with others. We are always accepting new submissions. If our doors are open, we can take seeds, or you can take seeds. So please don't hesitate. Take some time to come and visit us and browse through the collection. We have some seeds that would be great for your fall crop, by the way. We have several different types of beans and peas that you can plant pretty soon. You can plant today, you can plant next week. This is the time to be planting your fall crops. So come and check us out. And have I missed anything when it comes to the Seed Library?
No, I think you covered it.
Okay.
The best thing about it is it's free and it's here
Yeah,
for everybody.
Yeah, we really want you to come and add seeds to our Seed Library. So again, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. And again, thank you, Memphis, for choosing to start here.